All right, chat. Good evening tonight. It is Wednesday night. This is show number dosian here on the show. So welcome to the show, guys. My name is Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I'm an attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area. And tonight we're going to be talking about some of the ongoing issues still with Trendy Arugula, the problems that have been created, and then, what looked like to be a big problem, but now is not so much of a problem, among other things there. And also going on to, I guess, address the issue of tariffs. It causes you a lot to go. I mean, when you think about the whole tariff thing, it gives you pause because you're like, is this really the best solution? And then when you look at what's being done, I don't know, it gives me a little bit. I'm like, is this really like the best thing here? I'm just like, it's a little confusing the way this is getting done. Just a little confusing the way this is being done here. And I don't know. You guys are going to get to it. I'm sure I'm going to scuff some tamps out there, but that's okay if I scuff a tamp. You guys will be fine. I love you guys. You'll survive it, but we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to talk about it here because I just, yeah. There's just, I think there's some problems here. And, like I said, I don't think it's being done the best way possible. So we're going to get started on that. I think we'll just get started. We'll get right into it with the tariffs. If you guys were not aware, Trump has done a imposition of a reciprocal tariffs all over the place to everybody. And what he's done. Also, we are live tonight on YouTube and Twitter. So, what is this? What is the tariffing going to do? Well, we're going to bring it up here. So we have the Trump administration. So the White House passed some tariffs here, chat. And the way it starts off, we have these from the White House. And it's Liberation Day, which is something you think you'd hear in like China. When the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, defeated like Chiang Kai-shek or some shit. I don't know, chat. Anyways, we have this. Now, ultimately, what does this mean here? Well, there are reciprocal tariffs being put in place by the president. And what do you notice? I guess here's my first thought. Like, whether they're reciprocal or like whether tariffs are good or bad, but it's not we're the tariffs charged the United States from China, it's 67%. But which tariffs? Because not every tariff is tariffed the same way. Not every good's tariffed the same way. I guess if that's done on average, like this alone doesn't tell me a whole lot because we import all kinds of shit from China. We import all kinds of crap from the European Union. All kinds of different things. And then for Vietnam, we have a 90% tariff. That's fucking insane. That is insane. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense there as far as how is this actually working here? So what actually, and how does the president do all this? So we've got these tariffs. They also have a discounted reciprocal tariff. Okay, so what does all this actually mean? Well, if you want to figure out what it means, you have to come over here to the White House, and there, this is the part I can't stand with the whole Trump thing because there's like all these just freaking all those words. Let's just why do we need all the words? We're tariffing bitches. That's all he needs to say. We're tariffing bitches. So, Alibaba's on suicide alert. Yes. So, hold on here. Spet says, so this means less taxes, right? Right. Well, ultimately, probably in the long run, do tariffs have help in some way? Probably, but in the short term, they are going to be fucking brutal. And yes, Luke, he is including the trade deficits as tariffs against the United States. Yes. So that's part of the issue here about how they come up with the numbers. So, anyways, he starts this, by the powers vested in me as president of the Constitution under Article 2 and laws of the United States, including the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which the International Emergency Economic Powers Act is what we can use to sanction other nations. And then the National Emergencies Act and the Trade Act of the Trade Act of 1974, as well as other parts of the United States Code. He says, I find that underlying conditions, including a lack of reciprocity in our bilateral trade agreements, trade relationships, disparate tariff rates and non-tariff barriers, and U.S. trading partners' policies that suppress domestic wages and consumption. And yeah, does foreign stuff do that? Sure. NAFTA was really bad for people in blue-collar jobs. It gutted the fucking, manufacturing capability of America. Do I think that there are times where people think is unskilled manufacturing economic crack? Yeah, there's times where I do think that unskilled manufacturing can be economic crack for a country. When he talks about this domestic wages consumption is indicated by a large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits, it constitutes an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and economy of the United States. That threat has its source in whole or substantial part outside the U.S., in the domestic economic policies of key trading partners and structural imbalances in the global trading system. Yes, because the globalist. That is, we've got the globalist chat. So he says, I hereby declare a national emergency with respect to this threat. And this is the problem here, guys. When we gave the president these powers that he had here, the National Emergency Economic Powers Act and the National Emergencies Act, well, I'm sure they didn't mean it for something like this. But this is the problem. When you pass laws, the laws can be fucking used. So do I think this is probably the right way to do it? No. Do I like the idea of, we're bringing the world to heel? Yeah, but I don't really think the world's going to be brought to heel. It sounds sexy, but we're going to get to it, though. So he says, I signed the America First Trade Policy Presidential Memorandum. He says, directing my administration to investigate the causes of our country's large and persistent annual trade deficits in goods, including the economic and national security implications and risks resulting from such deficits. Now, some of you guys are wondering what the trade deficit is. It's when the cost of a country's imports exceed the value of its exports. So, for example, if you are in a trade deficit, so for example, if me and Aaron Steel Toe, we're countries, and I'm giving Aaron, I trade with him $10 worth of goods, but in the meantime, I import $100 worth of goods from Aaron. There's a trade deficit. So, and that's just because, Aaron happens to be a cheap manufacturer and I have to, consume. It's kind of like us in China. China doesn't take as much stuff in as they send out. And we gobble up all the rubber dog shit out of China. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes, guys. So. So Ross Perot is right. Yeah, Ross Perot is right a lot of things at the end of the day. China takes all our grain, though. Yes, he does. So what does this do, though? So he talks about the trade deficits, and he says, on February 13th, he signed another memorandum entitled Reciprocal Trade and Tariffs that directed further review of our trading partners' non-reciprocal trading practices and noted the relationship between non-reciprocal trade practices and the deficit. On April 1st, I received the final results of those investigations. Now, here's the deal. If it's April 1st, I'm the president, I'm like, I don't want a briefing. I don't want anything because I don't trust it all. How do I know the chairman of the Joint Chiefs is going to go, Mr. President, the Belgians have invaded Burma. The Belgians invaded Vietnam. April Fool. It's like, no. I don't want that. Or you open up your president's daily briefing, the spiders jump out of it or some shit. No. So he does point out that large and persistent U.S. goods trades deficits have led to the hollowing out of our manufacturing base. Yeah, I mean, yes, the U.S. has ran massive trade deficits, and the manufacturing base has been hollowed out. It's inhibited our ability to scale advanced domestic manufacturing. Yeah, a little bit, but base manufacturing, like basic manufacturing, is a problem. America does really good at skill manufacturing. We have tons of it. That's one of the things we can do. We can take all those raw goods and all that, those piles of rubber dog shit and turn it into something even better. So, and it's rendered our defense industrial base dependent on foreign adversaries. At times, yes, like when you heard about parts like the F-35 are coming from China. You're like, what? That's not good. So, anyways, the large and persistent annual goods trade deficits are caused in substantial part by a lack of reciprocity in our bilateral trade relationships. And this situation is evidenced by disparate tariff rates and non-tariff barriers that make it harder for U.S. manufacturers to sell their products in foreign markets. And that's true. There are many places that tariff the shit out of U.S. goods, but we just take whatever they fucking sell. It's also evidenced by the economic policies of the key U.S. trading partners insofar as they suppress domestic wages and consumption, and thereby demand for U.S. exports. And it says, while artificially increasing the competitiveness of their goods in global markets. They say these conditions have given rise to the national emergency this order is intended to abate and resolve. They talk about in 1934, U.S. trade policy has been organized around the principle of reciprocity. Congress directed the president to secure reduced reciprocal tariff rates from key global trading partners through bilateral trade agreements. And under the auspices of the global trading system, which after a while chat became the global system on trades and tariffs. So GATT was originally, and then we had the World Trade Organization, which is what GATT turned into. If you guys have never heard of it, yes, it's GATT. So, but yes, it was the no, not reciprocal tornadoes, tariffs. They say between 1934 and 45, the branch negotiated 32 bilateral trade rates and lowered its basis there. And after 1947 through 94, and this is where, once again, this is one of the things that GATT, it came about in the aftermath of World War II. It was very important. It became there. Yes, so from 97 to 94, the participating countries agreed in 8 rounds of negotiation, resulting in the general agreement on tariffs and trade. Did I say the global agreement? It's general agreement. Sorry, chat. Anyways, GATT, like GATT. And subsequent tariff reduction rounds. And then after 1994, it became the WTO. And they say, however, despite a commitment to the principle of reciprocity, the trading relationship between the United States has become highly unbalanced. Yeah, that's fair. It has. It's become unbalanced. In recent years, the international economic system was based upon 3 incorrect assumptions. First, if the United States led the world in liberalizing tariff and non-tariff barriers, the rest of the world would follow. Second, that such liberalization would ultimately result in more economic convergence and increased domestic consumption. Speaking of consumption, Doggo, who just eats treats like crazy. Hi, Bubba. Hi, Bubba Bear. Oh, he's freaked out, I think, a little. I think Clyde heard some storms were coming. That would result in more economic convergence and increased domestic consumption among U.S. trading partners, converging towards a share in the United States. And third, as a result, the U.S. would not accrue large and persistent goods trade deficits. He says that those are all incorrect. It didn't work out as planned. And to be fair, it did, because we ran large and persistent trades deficits. We have. So these events in turn have created large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits. And they say, put simply, while the WTO members agreed to bind their tariff rates on a most favored nation status, which, guys, if you remember, that was the big deal for China to get most favored nation status. Most favored nation status was the big deal. Yes, and Propaganda Limited is correct. In their great wisdom, they gave China most favored nation status, meaning you treat them as you would treat your most favored nations, meaning everybody gets the friend rate. It's like, you want this dog? I'll hook you up. I got the friends and family rate just for you. That's what we're talking about, most favored nation status, chat. So, Um, so this is still, guys, like I said, this is still Trump arguing what's going on there. And they provide their best tariff rates to all WTO members. They did not agree to bind their tariff rates at similar levels or apply the rates on a reciprocal basis. So they say, according to the WTO, the United States is among the lowest simple average, most favored nation tariff rates in the world, 3.3%. While many of the key trading partners, Brazil's at 11%, China 7.5%, and the EU 5%, and India 17%, and Vietnam 9.4%, have simple average rates that are significantly higher. And they say these rates conceal much larger discrepancies across the economies. For example, the U.S. imposes a 2.5% tariff on passenger vehicle imports with internal combustion engines, gasoline engines, while the European Union is 10%, India is 70%, and China is 15%, are much higher. They say for network switches and routers, the U.S. imposes a 0% tariff because we don't make our own. But for similar products, India does 10%, Brazil is 18%, Indonesia is 30%. They say, and they impose a higher tariff on ethanol than the United States does at 2.5%. So Indonesia does 30% on ethanol. Brazil's 18% on ethanol. Indonesia doesn't make a whole lot of sense because they don't grow corn, but okay. Brazil does, though, because they burn the rainforest and grow corn. They say for rice in the husk, the U.S. most favored nation tariff is 2.7%. While India is 80%, Malaysia is 40%, and Turkey, an average of 31%, impose higher rates. Apples enter the United States duty-free, but not so in Turkey at 60%, India at 50%. I understand why you need it's 50%. How many apples can you grow in India? That's a little like, what the fuck are we doing there, you guys? So they say, simply put, these are they deprive manufacturers access to the world. So what are they going to do here? They talk furthermore that the lack of reciprocity is apparent in the fact that the share of consumption to gross domestic product in the United States is about 68%. It's much lower in countries like Ireland, Singapore, China, South Korea, and Germany. So he's talking about what are the problems here. Kai, can I set you down now? You're getting hard for me to hold and do my job at the same time, bud. So he talks about furthermore these efforts to address as stalled trading partners have repeatedly blocked multilateral and plurilateral solutions, including new rounds of negotiations and efforts to discipline non-tariff barriers. They say these structural asymmetries, meaning it's one way, have driven the large and persistent annual goods trade deficit. Even for countries with the U.S. may enjoy an occasional bilateral trade surplus, the accumulation of tariff and non-tariff barriers on U.S. exports may make that surplus smaller than it would have been without such barriers. They say permitting the asymmetries to continue is not sustainable in today's economic and geopolitical environment. So, yes, the nation's ability to produce domestically is the bedrock of its national and economic security. Once again, chat, remember, there's the whole issue of, is unskilled manufacturing economic crack? And I think it is for an economy. And he talks about in 2017 and the Biden administration in 2022 recognized that increasing domestic manufacturing is critical to U.S. national security. Yes, having some capability is never a bad idea, but we don't need part of the issue is here. This is not World War II where we need a million fucking Chrysler plants running, where we can all of a sudden go, you're building tanks now. Having some domestic manufacturing capability is good, but having tons of it is not helpful, I would argue. So they say, according to the 2023 UN data, manufacturing output as a share of global manufacturing output was a share of 17%. And down from a peak in 2001 of 28.4%, which I'm surprised that it wasn't higher going further back, but, I'm not going to argue. So they say over time, the persistent deadline has reduced U.S. manufacturing capacity. Are the dogs fighting? So- They say the need to maintain robust and resilient domestic manufacturing capacity is particularly acute in certain areas like in automobiles, in shipbuilding, pharmaceuticals, technology, machine tools, and basic and fabricated metals. Because once competitors gain sufficient global markets to share in these sectors, U.S. production could be permanently weakened. Well, it is. I mean, automobiles have been weakened. Shipbuilding is non-existent really anymore, except for the military. We talked about this before, chat. Like, if you go look at the shipyards in China, they can build a fucking million ships, 200 times the output that we have. We only have handfuls of shipyards anymore. They say it's critical to scale manufacturing capacity in the defense industrial sector so we can manufacture the defense material and equipment necessary to protect American interests at home and abroad. Okay, yes, protecting American interests at home and abroad, he means for Israel. And he says, in fact, because the U.S. has supplied so much military equipment to other countries, which we have supplied a lot lately, Ukraine, stockpiles of military goods are too low to be compatible with U.S. defense interests. This is true. The U.S. military has acknowledged we are not really capable of fighting a large-scale combat operation. There's a lot we can do, but it's going to be tough. And they say, we need to develop advanced technologies, including biomanufacturing, batteries, and microelectronics. And they say if the United States wishes to maintain an effective security umbrella, it needs to have a large upstream manufacturing and goods producing ecosystem to manufacture these products without undue reliance on imports from 4 key inputs. Yeah, well, we're going to have that problem because it's hard to do that. So he goes on and 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 on here. He says, today manufacturing just represents 11% of U.S. gross GDP. Yet it accounts for 35% of American productivity growth and 60% of our exports. Well, you're not going to exporting things from a service economy. That's not how it works. So yes, manufacturing is going to be your biggest part of your exports. And while these numbers seem goofy to you, that's because that's how effective American manufacturing is. And it's skilled manufacturing. That says, importantly, the U.S. manufacturing is the main engine of innovation in the United States, responsible for 55% of all patents and 75% of all R&D spending. The fact that R&D spending by U.S. multinational enterprises in China grew at an average rate of 13.6% a year between 2003 and 2017, while R&D in the United States grew by an average of 5% per year during the same period, is evidence the strong link between manufacturing and innovation. Well, yeah, but these guys had to spend a ton more to catch up because they're cheating on everything. So we know why they did it. And they say for every manufacturing job spurs 7 to 12 new jobs in other industries. I don't know about that. So he goes on to talk about, we can't do this forever. And we can't survive if we can't produce our own food. He says, when I left office, we had a trade surplus of ag products, but today it's vanished, and we have a $49 billion annual agricultural trade deficit. So what does he say? So I hereby declared a national emergency. Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. In the large and annual trade deficits that have grown by over 40% in the past 5 years alone, reaching $1.2 trillion in 2024. Yeah, that's a big issue. But we'll explain something here about why that trade deficit does help. So he talks about what is it going to do here. Now he wants to talk about what's this actually going to be. So we're not worried about all this. We want to get to the actual trade policy. It's a policy of the United States to rebalance global trade flows by imposing an additional ad valorem duty on all imports from all trading partners except as otherwise provided herein. An additional duty on all imports from all trading partners shall start at 10%, and shortly after the additional duty shall increase for trading partners enumerated in Annex 1 to this order at the rate set forth in Annex 1 to this order. These additional duties shall apply until such time as I determine the underlying conditions described above are satisfied, resolved, or mitigated. So it's not even they have to do X. Insert Ireland has to do whatever. No, it's I'll decide when Ireland's complied. You're like, I don't know if that's going to help, but we'll see. And except as otherwise provided, the subject to an additional rate of 10%. Yes, all articles imported in the United States shall be consistent with law, subject to an additional 10% duty. Such rates of duty shall apply with respect to goods entered for with or withdrawn from a warehouse for consumption on or after 12:01 a.m. on April 5th. So it's not in effect yet, but it's going to happen. It says, except the goods loaded onto a vessel at the port of loading and in transit, as the final mode of transit before 12:01 Eastern Daylight on April 5th and entered for consumption and withdrawn from a warehouse after 12:01 Eastern Daylight Time on April 5th shall not be subject to an additional duty. So he says, furthermore, respect this order at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on April 5th. Are all articles from all trading partners imported shall be consistent with the law, subject to an ad valorem rate specified in Annex 1. So he's telling you what he's going to do there. And why is this? Uh-oh, chat. I think I froze it. Hold on. Let me see here. I think it's frozen. Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's broken. Yeah, jeez, that was... Oh, no, it's broken, chat. We're going to have to hang on for a second here. Now, getting back to this trade deficit, the problem is, and this is a problem with the trade deficit, we import a lot of things, but the problem is a lot of shit that gets imported, we don't have a market for. And this is something that propaganda is correct. There's a lot of things we buy that there aren't domestic markets for. It's kind of like avocados. We don't really grow avocados here. You get avocados from Mexico. Is a great example of things. So, yes, take care for everybody in the tornadoes. Yes. But that is where we are with this, you guys. That is where we are. So they talk about real quick Annex 1. This is the adjusted tariff rates that they're talking about here. So what is this trade rate here? So this is what they want to do for everybody. These are the reciprocal adjusted tariffs. This is what we're looking at. Here are what they're doing here for things. And this just shows all the countries that they're listing all the way through. Now, this is where it gets a little, well, I don't say it gets a little, it gets kind of ridiculous. We don't sell a lot of things these countries sell. We don't have manufacturing or do the things these countries do. So doing those specific tariffs, like on all goods, well, there's no similar good here made in America, which is going to be a bit of a problem. I mean, at times, can it make sense to do a tariff in your own industries? Sure, as long as you have it, but just tariffing everything, unless you're trying to bring another country to heel, like Canada, and you're like, sorry, all the syrup's going to have a 45% tariff, then yeah, you could bring them to heel that way. So that is a... Oh, you guys are... Wait, you have an avocado tree in your backyard, so you're good for guac? In California, grows avocados, much better ones too. Free trade killed the industry there, though. I didn't even know you could grow fucking avocados in California, but I don't eat avocados anyway. Avocados are disgusting. Avocados are nasty, and guacamole makes me want to like bleh, everywhere. So we're not going to do that. So, but they also do talk about what is not in the tariffs. So they went through it. So what is this? So these are the things that when Trump goes on here, he says, Well, we got a bunch of stuff that in Annex 2 are not subject to the rates. And they say all the articles that are passed in this. They also say all articles and derivatives of steel and aluminum subject to duties imposed pursuant to Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, and another proclamation of Presidential Proclamation 9704 from 2018. They talk about there what those are, but what is this? What is this going to be? So, what is covered? What's not covered? Well, these things are not covered. Natural graphite, graphite in powder or in flakes, natural calcium phosphates, natural barium sulfate. This is some like basic shit. Tungsten ores because we need that. Uranium because we need that. Aluminium because we need that. Cobalt, we need that. Copper, we need that. Manganese, we need that. Other mineral substances. Like, we need all this stuff. Also titanium ores, niobium and tantalum ores, silver ores, antimony ores, ash residues. You can use the potash for a lot of different things. Slag. Coal, anthracite, whether or not pulverized but not agglomerated. Coal, bituminous coal, whether or not pulverized and not agglomerated. But there's all kinds of stuff, guys. Charcoal briquettes, lignite is there, peat, like peat moss, like you make gunpowder. You talk about coke, it's semi-coke of coal. Coal gas, water gas, producer gas, and similar gases that happen when you're dealing with some of these hydrocarbons. You have benzene, toluene, xylene, naphthalene. So these are all kinds of things you are not going to be able. This is going to be different and are treated differently. So yes, there's a lot of stuff out there, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to have a different setup anyway. And this just goes on and 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 on. Chat 37 pages of shit that is exempt. Yes, peat is for plant nurseries too. Yes. So that is where we are. That's where we are there. No, there's no tax-free Coke. I'm sorry. So that is where we are with that. So that's what he's going to do here. We're gonna set the tariffs high. We're gonna make the wall 10 feet taller. This is just it's retarded. I don't think it's gonna work. As much as it sounds good making the world suffer. I mean, they all had shitty economies, massive trade deficits. Our way, I think there's a lot of argument for helping keep a massive trade deficit helps keep your inflation low just because you have so much value coming back into the country. It's a great way to keep that happening. So, yes, and also there are a couple different things here where some other things were also put together. So Svalbard and Jan Mayen, they're way up in the north above the Arctic Circle. Svalbard has the seed vault. They probably don't do anything exporting other than seal blubber. Who knows? Reunion Island, I can't imagine what they export. The British Indian Ocean Territory includes Diego Garcia. So we export bombs from there, primarily to Iran, and trade for nothing. So I can see a trade deficit forming there. Gibraltar's there. Tuvalu is an island in the Solomon Islands. Sao Tome and Principe, that is where kiwifarms.st, that is where they're out of. But then you have this one, the Heard and McDonald Islands. And it's 10%. You're like, okay. Yes, a lot of these are British territories, yes. Or British possessions. Oh, Spetz says Reunion is one of the largest producers of natural vanilla. Well, there you go. So, So from here, the Heard and McDonald Islands are uninhabited islands. Now that's the thing. I know people are trying to chuckle at him and say, "Oh my God, he put a tariff on a place where no one lives," but that doesn't mean people aren't taking items from there and entering them into global trade. Like that's the thing. If somebody's taking shit from there and putting in the global trade, then fine. Like that's actually not an issue for me. I think you have to wait for him to, you know, like there's a list and it spit out a list of all places and including all British like Commonwealth holdings, and it hit that up. So yeah. Most people don't even know what those are. How many people live there? Like 85. Yeah, there are no people in the Henry and McDonald Islands. Yes, we're not doing 9% tariffs on sandwiches. Do not scare me like that. So some of this is being done rather clumsily. I just don't think it's being done well. Now, the idea overall of this happening, I think, is obviously it sounds good, but will it reduce good results? I don't know. I mean, there is the idea that free trade is free trade is free trade is free trade right now. We don't have that right now. That's not being set up as free trade. Never any tariffs on spider meat. Yeah. Not even 85 people there. It's 0 people there. So that's where it becomes an issue of like, what's this going to do? And I think this could easily be a lot of problems. You know, the idea that it's going to turn out perfectly, I don't know. I'm not confident in, but that's what I do, and I do them all the time. Trump's done a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh, buddy, it actually worked. So, you know, that can just tell you, what do I know? What do I know? And let's see here. Who is this? Let me see here. No, we can't have that up. Whew. All right, so moving on from there, chat. So that's what it is. But is there going to be enough to charge us is it going to enough to charge us a tariff there? I don't know. Yeah, are there going to be enough government officials there to do it? Yes, free trade sounds good, but then you look at what NAFTA brought us. And I understand that. I understand at the end of the day, guys, there's that concern because yes, we tried the North American Free Trade Agreement and America lost its ass. Well, at that point, it was already losing it. Then it lost its ass and it lost its shirt. And it's been devastating to American manufacturing since. But I do agree, Keopathic, though. The idea is, you know, America has a lot of fucking unskilled manufacturing and needs to figure out a way to fix. Because just having guys go stand on an assembly line and hit a button and smash things into a thing all day is not going to work. We got to have a plan here, and I just don't think there's anything set up yet. I'm picking my nose. No, I'm not sure. If I was mining for gold, I'd share it with you. So, yes, we sold away our ass, not lost. Well, we'll never know if it worked if we won't give it a try. Well, there's that too. There's that too. A plan, is it a 5-year plan? Says awful sus. Well, I don't think it'll be a 5-year plan. But you know what? I mean, we're kind of left with, well, what are we going to do to fix it? Well, let's try something. Now, this is where, you know, other things haven't worked. You know, increasing free trade doesn't really do anything because the U.S. is the only one increasing free trade. But yes, Tech Guy South is, we're kind of, this is the argument I keep hearing here, is basically step 1, tariff, step 2, then step 3, profit. It's like, well, where's the profit? So I don't know. So that is kind of like the issue we're looking at. Now, I should do a stream on what's this thing somebody's saying me? All right. So we are going to move on to this. We got other things to hit too. Access step 2, we manufacture our own shit. Yeah, well, there's a lot of shit we can't manufacture. Hail to the Break says, my take on this is risky. Oh, it's really, really risky. It's very risky. So, The intent's to force the U.S. to rebuild domestic industry and damage the rest of the world. Listen, I understand that's the plan. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not like sitting here dumb. Like, do you look like you have a plan? I understand he's got a plan. I'm just. Is this plan going to work? Because if we bring back all the jobs somebody could get out of high school, fucking slapping parts together, like those jobs would not be economically sustainable anymore. So that's where I kind of have a concern about this. The plan's not matching reality. Now, I'm happy to be wrong, and maybe I'll be wrong, just like the Salvadoran guy who got deported. Maybe I'll be wrong about it, but we'll take a look at it and see what happens. But I guess for right now, I'm just a little concerned. So from their chat, we do have some things, though, we do need to address. Hope and pray the opposition does not actively ruin the plan. Well, that too. Real quick, though, Debbie O gifted 10 subs. Let's go, chat. Let's go. A new dawn for America here. 10 subs, chat. Just finding these greens and just crushing them. Just look at Debbie just fucking crushing all those gray cars getting crushed under the green monster truck. It's like poetry. It's like poetry, chat. And then arson investigator for 49 99 says, I received news today that the person I was doing the expert witness thing for had all his arson charges dropped and was released after I submitted my report. That's a win. Hell yeah, that's a win. That's good news. That just means you did that good of a job. Prosecutor's like, oh, fuck. So congrats. Darcy says that Fannie Willis just tried to revoke Young Thug's bail. I did see that. They're trying to revoke his bond and violate his probation. Hopefully that fails. And then Philip Coggin says that, yes, trade deficits are one of the primary reasons why inflation is low. Yes. The greatest export for America is the dollar still currently. It's still the reserve currency of the world. It's what allows us to have deficit spending. It automatically removes dollars from the economy. Yes, it does. And yes, I wonder, though, if part of the issue is, and it's something I don't know if Trump or his people are planning for, is the idea when the U.S. is no longer a reserve currency. I mean, this goes to being the reserve currency, the petrodollar. If you guys have ever heard of that, you can, barrels of oil are only sold in dollars and USD. Well, we're starting to see that's different. The Saudis have done oil in yuan, the Chinese yuan, and other things. And like, there's the petrodollar is kind of a fragile thing. And you'll hear the memes of we'll go to war to protect the petrodollar because it's so fucking important. And it is. So I wonder if this is an idea that they're worried that the U.S. will no longer be the reserve currency of the world and that there'll be other competitors, and the U.S. might still maintain a majority share, but there'll be other options available. But thank you, Philip. I agree. Can I use Clyde coin for international tariffs? No, you can't. No, the tariffs, you can't make the tariffs go away. Sorry. No says the U.S. is the number one importer of coffee in the world, and only Hawaii makes coffee. And it's very small production, very far away. I mean, I can't imagine you can make that much coffee in Hawaii anyway. There's not enough room. Yeah, you guys grow avocados in California. That shit's nasty anyway. So, Linda says we're effed in the A. Up in Canada, yeah, well. Yeah, we'll see there. EDW Raptor says the 10% tariffs on the herd of McDonald Islands, the 2 islands that only inhabitants are penguins and seabirds. Yeah, but I think there's, like the stuff might get exported from there or harvested from there. I don't know, fishing or whatever. Maybe that's where that also falls into place. Debbie says that Indiana Attorney General was that 30% of prisoners in Indiana identifies the opposite sex of their birth. That's not sketch. And no, it's not sketchy at all. Surely that's not a bunch of dudes trying to get into a women's prison. Like, no way that's happening at all. And Smoot, and say Darnell Parnass says, does the Smoot-Hawley tariff seem familiar here? Well, I mean, there's times where it's like, are there times where this might have been an issue? But yes, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs were some of the highest tariffs the U.S. ever did. They were signed into effect in 1930, and it raised like U.S. tariffs on all kinds of shit. And the other biggest tariff is there was like a tariff in the 1800s, like after the War of 1812, that was just monstrous. And it was a very it was a tariff the U.S. enacted unilaterally, and then the rest of the world got no massive trade war. Certainly by 1930, it obviously you guys are like, wow, that's the middle of the Great Depression. Yeah. So Smoot-Hawley was not a good idea at that point. But I mean, that's so it didn't work out. It didn't work out that well. There is a good graph that's out there though. If you guys do want to see the average tariff rates that were out there and the way they've been. Can you guys see this thing? 'Cause I can't see it. Let me see if does this pop up? Oh, that's why it's not adding the stage. Okay, that's why. All right, here we go. So this is the U.S. average tariff rates from 1821 to 2016. And yes, the far here in the back is the tariffs of 1828. I forgot what year it was, but it was called the Tariff of Abominations. All right. Then you had a tariff in 1861, the Underwood Law in 1913. Then you had the Smoot-Hawley tariff, and then you had the Trade Agreement Act of 1934, which it then started going down, down, down. You have the GATT, which became the WTO in 1947. And then from here it went, and now it's going back up. And now it's going to go. Why is it not working there? Now it's going to go like this. And they're worried it's going to go like this, and then the economy is going to collapse and we'll all die. But yes, the tariffs are going to be increased, and like somewhere over here, they're going to be like, they're going up now. They're going up. So that is the argument they're making there. Squizcar for $50. Thank you. Says, feeling generous, found out I'm going from basically having no retirement to having $243,000 in my 401k. Holy shit, man. Yeah, grow that, make it bigger. You're gonna need you need a lot to survive in retirement, but that's good money. That's good seed money right there. So congrats. That's some good shit. I know my 401k is not gonna be. Well, I don't have 401k. I have a bunch of IRAs. That's not going to be 243,000 right now. So, yeah. But anyways, congrats to you. It says Nate says, but Sean, the line goes up. Yes, the moral tariff helped set off the Civil War. Yeah, I mean, like the Civil War was going to happen anyway. Yes, and cacophonies, yes. Look at the Smoot-Hawley tariff affecting only 3% of the GDP, yes. And it was well into the Depression when it passed. Yeah, I agree. By we were already into the Depression in 1930. But yes, it didn't help that way there, so. They say through this tax on the Pacific Ocean, the administration projects it will be able to pay for the wall. Yes. Yeah. Funny. Linda says, oh, you live in Seattle, not Canada yet. Oh, I thought you lived in Canada. I thought you were a hoser. I'm sorry. Yes. Haschick says, I don't look at any of my investments right now. I don't either. You just let shit go. That's the only thing you could do. You have somebody, if you have somebody like in charge of them, or you have something that's kind of like autopiloting itself, you just let it grow. You leave it alone and it grows. It's like looking at, it's like looking at something in the oven. You just leave it alone until it's time to pull it out. Because otherwise you're going to ruin it. So, Seattle might be worse than Canada. Yeah. Okay. I don't know about that. I don't know about that part. So, we are going to move on from here. Oh, you're a dual citizen? Ah, that's why. Okay. Okay. All right, chat. So moving on, and this is something where I'm going to come in here and eat crow, dealing with. Actually, before we get too far, we do need to address this. As the meme goes,
neutral or not.
Oy vey, shut it down. The goyim know too much. Oy vey, shut it down. So a rabbi is at a Senate hearing on anti-Semitism, and he tells you why it's not good enough just not being anti-Semitic. So it's Rabbi Shemitov. As he comes in and he's got he totally doesn't look like a handler, but okay. Anyways, here comes the rabbi. What's he telling us now?
Anti-Semitism is not just an age-old prejudice. It is a contemporary crisis manifesting on campuses across the nation. It is not enough for individuals or institutions to merely claim they are not anti-Semitic. As my father once taught me, it is not enough for people, especially public figures, to be neutral or not be anti-Semitic. One must be anti-Semitic. We must demand the same of our universities and government institutions.
So, guys, basically, he's doing the Robin DiAngelo, white fragility, Ibram X. Kendi thing of it's not enough to be not racist. You have to actively be anti-racist. Yes, that's the same thing we're seeing there. Yes, you're not just not being racist is not enough. You have to be anti-racist. You have to be anti-Semitic. You have to go after anti-Semites with a Talmudic fury. It's like, no. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. No. So, but very much like Training Day, to be anti-Semitic, one must know and love anti-Semitism. Yes, but no, we're not doing that. But yes, is that really an oy vey shut it down moment? Actually, it is. It is an oy vey shut it down moment, believe it or not. It is an oy vey shut it down moment. Yeah. So do you know too much? Well, now you do know too much. You do know too much. Now, moving on to where I messed up. Chat. So this is where I fucked up. And I'll own it. Like I told you, chat, I will screw up. This is where I fucked up. So yesterday, I screwed up. I 100% screwed up. And what was the issue here? Well, I kind of went along. I took the bait on something. And what was the issue here? Well, it goes to this case here. And it's a case involving a guy who has been deported. He got deported back to El Salvador. He got Afeura'd. No, I did not make a sandwich wrong. But it's this case here, chat. It's this case here. And it's Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia versus Christy Nome. And this is from the defendants, being obviously the United States, coming in and talking about what happened. Now, why am I saying I got it wrong? Well, he ended up getting deported, and he was placed on a do not deport list. Well, at that point, the government came in and he got Afeura'd back to El Salvador. So, part of the issue in his case here is, and this is something that there was a TRO sought, and they wanted the government to stop paying the El Salvadoran government. They wanted the TRO to stop paying compensation to the El Salvadoran government for the detention of plaintiff Abrego Garcia, and a mandatory injunction on all the federal government to request that they return him to the U.S. government's custody. So obviously the government's saying we don't have to do all that, and what happens here? Now, this is the issue where things come up. So for him, he is a citizen and native of El Salvador. And his co-plaintiffs are his U.S. citizen wife, 5-year-old child, who reside in Maryland. In 2019, he was served with a notice to appear in removal proceedings, charging him as inadmissible as an alien present in the United States without being admitted or paroled. And he arrived in the United States at any time or place other than as designated by the Attorney General, meaning he was illegally here. Okay. So during the bond hearing, ICE determined and said that they had advised the judge that he isn't an active gang member of MS-13. So his bond was denied. Later on, he then filed an application for asylum, withholding of removal, and protection under the UN Convention Against Torture. And they says, although he was found removable, meaning although he qualifies for removal, the judge granted him a withholding of removal to El Salvador back in October 10th of 2019. So he was released in the meantime. So on March 12th, he was stopped by ICE, and they told him his status had changed. After being detained, he was questioned and ultimately sent to Texas. And from there, guys, it's the same Texas place where he was told he would be removed to El Salvador and detained at the CCOT prison there. Now, here's the issue, and this is where I hadn't read all of this, and I got a little antsy in my pantsy. And part of the reason why I got antsy in my pantsy was I had read this. I had read this thing here. And this is from The Atlantic. And I apologize. Forgive me, chat, for I have sinned. But that an administrative error sent a guy who was here illegally to El Salvador in prison. But he was not. So that's the issue. That's where this starts. Okay. So that is where I got played. Now, what happened to him? And then it becomes here where it says on March 15th, although ICE was aware of his protection from removal, he was removed to El Salvador because of an administrative error. He got Afeura'd. So, and the only reason why they figured out he was there, his wife identified one of the detainees depicted based on his tattoos and headscarves. So, one of the guys getting shaved up and everything. Now, what actually happened to this guy? Well, some people did some things. They did some looking. They did some investigating on it. And I did see this, and this is from Will Chamberlain. He is over at the Article 3 project, and he brings up what happened here. What happened with this guy? So they're demanding he get returned to the United States. Here's the problem. He's in El Salvador in custody. He ain't coming back. He's Afeura'd. Afeura'd! I think I got it right. So he brings it up, and he points out that first he was detained in 2019. He crossed the border illegally in 2012 and was thus removable, totally independent of whether he was in MS-13. Yes, and that's the problem. He was already here illegally. So upon the finding he was in MS-13, he didn't get bond because his release would be a problem. and that he would be in trouble and he'd be dangerous. So instead, from there, they found he was a flight risk because he hadn't shown up at proceedings pertaining to his traffic violations. Once again, chat, this is the reason why you always show up to court. Not showing up to court fucks you over. So for 2 separate reasons, the judge denied his bond. He then appealed to the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is what you do. Because you don't appeal straight to a federal court. You appeal through the immigration law system, chat. And the immigration system is how this works. So you have your immigration hearing, and then from there you can appeal up, but you're appealing through the immigration courts. It's all administrative, so it's a different court system. So they affirmed his findings on dangerousness and dismissed the appeal, so he was stuck. Now, what happened since then? Well, he then said, well, fuck, if I'm stuck here, I want asylum. I'm going to get tortured in El Salvador, and I need protection under the Geneva Convention Against Torture. If you send me back, I'm going to get fucked. Now, obviously, he's got an incentive. He just had his wife is having a kid. He wants to stay. His whole family's here. That his brothers have green cards. They did it the right way. So what did he do? Well, he claims that a gang was going to hurt him because of his family's pupusa business. And, you know, it's like, okay, well, what's all that? So, you know, pupusas are big flatbreads. So basically, there's like a torta business, more or less. There is a flatbread business there. So he fears death, but he ran away. He left El Salvador in 2012, right? So in 2012, he left. And they talked about with the mom, you know, she ran the business out of her home and they didn't have a storefront. But they went to Pupuseria Cecilia. And their father's brother and 2 sisters all helped run the family business. And he would buy the supplies. And from there, the gangs got mad at him. And they said, you know, orale, Holmes. You're ruining our business. So at some point, the gangs realized they were making money. And they claimed they began extorting him. Okay, well. They also argued that they paid money to the gangs and they hid family members from the gangs. They hid Cesar from the gangs. They tried to recruit him instead, because his older brother wasn't involved and he got away. So when he was 12 years old, the gang came home again, telling Cecilia they would take him away because he wasn't paying money to the pupusa business. They prevented him from taking it away by giving them all the money they wanted. So eventually, he came to the United States. Yes, and finally they closed their pupusa business and moved to another area about 15 minutes away from where they used to live. And they were so worried he was going to get threatened and attacked. Well, okay. So at that point, he moved on. And they moved on everywhere they went. It was so bad. It's so sad in the pupusa business. And yes, these are very convenient claims now being made 8 years later while facing imminent removal. So here's the problem. And this is an issue. If he has been here for a while, you cannot just declare asylum. You have to declare it as soon as you get here. Because that's one of the ways we try to prevent bullshit stories of it. Well, that is an issue here. So even after finding it, he was time barred because he took too long. You can't do it. An applicant for asylum must demonstrate by clear and convincing evidence that it's been filed within 1 year of the date of the alien's arrival in the United States, even if it's illegal. So, sorry. Oh, it's a Salvadoran calzone. Okay, well, still. He filed this years after he came here, so he's afuera. They say his application is time barred. He entered the U.S. in 2012, He didn't file the application until he was detained in 2019, 7 years after his entry. And he showed no extraordinary circumstance would entitle him to relief. So therefore, he's time barred and denied. So, afuera. So they turned to the removal holdings under the act, and he's afuera. So, now here's the thing. He was granted withholding of removal. That's not a legal right to stay in the United States, only a legal right not to be removed from the United States to El Salvador. Now, here's the thing. Any third-party countries would be sufficient. So, yeah. That was the administrative error. That's all they did. That's all that happened. That was the administrative error. And ultimately, the administrative judge had no right to grant him any holds. So, but at that point, they can remove him at any point. And then, yes, Will Chamberlain brings up a great point. Well, he can always go back because the gang has been removed. It's safe for him to return. Because they're all locked up in the CCOT prison. Uh-oh. Well, that part's bad. So, yes, only El Salvador has to take him, though. Yes, and El Salvador took him. So, chat, I want to apologize. I got it wrong. The research I had done showed that he had not waited that long. So, suffer, Sean. Suffer, fat man. Suffer. So, that is what happened to him there. So, he is afuera. Properly afuera. So, he's not a legal resident. He was a removable alien. So, he was therefore not entitled to anything. So, even if the MS-13 stuff were not true, he wasn't allowed to be here. He's got to go bye-bye. And it takes care of that. So, remember, this was the guy they hanging their hat on, like, oh, we found one that was wrong. And honestly, chat, I was willing to say, you know what? The government probably fucked it up. Why not? Because they do fuck it up. That's what they do. Ag, I'm not trying to share a screen. I'm not trying to share the screen with you. Just the idea that if he was here in 2019, he was here for 7 years, he gets Afeura'd. So, but you know what, guys? Like I said, I'm willing to to point out, yeah. Yes. And yes, likely they're lying. Likely they knew all the stuff there. So, there you go. But yes, the poor papusa eating. The poor papusa eating Salvadorans. So sad. So sad. There's no screen to share, boomerettes. I'm not sharing a screen for you. You're going to have to suffer because there's no screen to share. Now, there is some stuff that's out there. And this came from J.D. Vance, where he's talking about... and this is where I kind of glossed over this part. They determined that he was, in fact, and this is from J.D. Vance, saying he was a member of the MS-13 gang. Well, they had reason to believe he's a member of MS-13. I don't think the judge ever confirmed that. He also had multiple traffic tickets for which he failed to appear in court, a real winner. Yeah, but a lot of people have shitty court records. That's not really that big a deal. So, and they say it's telling the entire American media is going to run a propaganda operation. They make you think the innocent father of 3 was apprehended by a gulag. Well, I think it means he was apprehended and sent to a gulag. Yes. So he's an illegal immigrant with no right to be in the country. True. An immigration judge determined he was a member of MS-13. No, there was reason to believe he was, but that was never proven. But yes, because he's not a citizen, he does not get a full jury trial by peers. Well, here's the thing. If he's trying to say in an immigration setting, yes, there are no jury trials in an immigration court. You don't get those. You can have immigration trials, though, where you win and prove your innocence, you prove your nationality and stuff like that. But That's the problem here. So, and they do say that they say all the courts reluctant to give evidentiary weight to respondents' clothing. They point out that, you know, his membership rank and name is sufficient to support he's a gang member, and he failed to present evidence to rebut that. So yes, somebody knew his gang membership, his rank, and his gang name, which that's a lot of stuff. So, but anyways, you don't get due process. You don't get a trial with a jury in an immigration setting like that. The judge determines whether or not you're supposed to be here. So, in other words, he received whatever due process he was entitled to receive. Yes, he appears to have been properly deported as part of the Immigration and Nationality Act. So that is important here. That is important here. So there we go. There we go. That is correct. That is correct. So, let's see here. So that is where we are with this guy. So that's the update there. He's not really he's not really trendy Arugula. He's MS-13-ish, but that was addressing the problem there. That was addressing the problem there. And where is the thing we were going to talk about next? All right. So this is where it gets to, as much as I think, you know, I know a lot of you guys are going to say Afeura'd to this woman, or Afeura'd in Turkish. But I don't know where this goes from here. But it's hold on, I need to bring this up because he does address this. This gets to this is Marco Rubio, and we're talking about now. This is one where I'm really trying to figure out, like we're in the middle of stuff here, and it's the issue of Romesa Öztürk. She is a student here in Turkey, or from Turkey. She was detained by ICE, and right now she's facing a habeas petition. So here's the issue, though. When you go into the court for her court case, it's a habeas petition right now, and it's Öztürk v. Hyde et al. And she's the petitioner for her habeas petition. And the person that she's going against is the field director for ICE in the area. Brimstone's saying, is she a citizen or not? No, she's here on a student visa. Here's my concern, though. Here is my concern. And I don't like what happened here, because when you listen to why Marco Rubio, why they got rid of her, it's like, well, was she screaming death to America? Well, no, so far, no. He actually said, here's what happened to her.
We revoked her visa. It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States, and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country. So it's just that simple. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country. They're going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors, and say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in. Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses. And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away. I encourage every country to do that. by the way, because I think it's crazy to invite students into your country that are coming onto your campus and destabilizing it. We're just not going to have it. So we'll revoke your visa. And once your visa is revoked, you're illegally in the country and you have to leave. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. If you invite me into your home because you say, I want to come to your house for dinner, and I go to your house and I start putting mud on your couch and spray painting your kitchen, I bet you're going to kick me out. But we're going to do the same thing if you come into the United States as a visitor and create a ruckus for us. We don't want it. We don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country. But you're not going to do it in our country.
So that is the argument there. Now, it's not Shinobu Tezuka says you assholes made Rubio right. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's part of the issue. It's not 100% clear because we haven't seen like the documents about why she's in custody. We don't actually know right now. And the reason why I bring that up is because when you come into here for like anything on Pacer, you know, everything is basically like you're trying to see why you can't get, you know, her petition for habeas corpus. Well, we don't have permission to look at that. So you're like, huh, I'd love to look at that one, but I can't. I can't show that one to you. You know, they want to talk about any of these amended complaints and petitions for the writ habeas corpus. So like, I'll take a look at this one. No, we can't look at that one. We can't look at that one. We cannot look at motions to seal her declaration. So she's made claims. Now, her claims are that she merely wrote op-eds. Now, is that true? If that's all she wrote, then she should be allowed to be here. You are allowed to voice whether or not you don't like Israel, because that was her position, was dealing with what happened for the Israelis. And you don't have to be a lover of Zionism. And I don't like that idea. If she was merely said, I don't like Israel, and Zion Don was like, well, we can't have that. And Marco Rubio was like, I too love the promised land. Now, if that's all she did, I don't want her to be deported. I don't think she should be deported. And this is where Michael Gilkey brings up something great. He says, I just have to promise on my Vietnam visa that I'd follow their laws. Why should her visa be different? It shouldn't be. And in fact, in America, I would argue, it should be a little more, it should be even easier to do things. Was she engaging in a criminal enterprise? Not to my knowledge. Not to our knowledge on that one. And we have to see what happens there. Yes, Veteran says no problem unless it's about Israel. And that's my issue there. It's about fucking Israel. Like, that's the thing. You guys are like, she's got to go back. You got to go back. And in the background, as you do that, it's just Haga Navida, Haga Navida, Haga Navida, da 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 da. Hey, so as you guys do it, that's who you're backing right then, okay? So just as long as you're cool with that, I mean, Brimstone, you got to pick your side here, man. Are you going to back the thing Israel wants you to do? Or are you going to be like, maybe we should just wait a second? We should wait a second here. Yeah. I'm just saying that's a bit of a, yeah. So send them all back. I understand that, even the little hats. Well, okay. Well, that's not happening. I mean, like, let's be fully honest on that. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest. Okay. So that's the thing here, guys. For those of you going for this, you're doing what Israel wants. You're doing the work of Zionism. Like, whoo. First Amendment or Zionism right now? Who wins? First Amendment. Some of you guys are like, no. I want Zionism to win. I'm like, what are we doing here, brother? So, like, really think about what you want to do here. Distant says, well, I don't hate Israel. Yeah, well, that's what you're kind of doing, though. J-Rock says, not welcome. Well, who? This lady from Turkey or the Zionist? Lime Green Joint says it's always them. Yes. Well, that's part of the issue here. Like, when people are doing this, like, are we, like, really, like, especially her, though, like, what happened to Mohammed Khalil? it sounds like, as far as all the different arguments are being made, how did he get a green card that early? Was he doing stuff for UNRWA? And then he was working in the British FCO, the Foreign Commonwealth Office. You're like, God, that sounds like a glowy to me. So I'm a little concerned about that one. But this chick just seems like, pretty boring. Like, I don't think there's even any proof she did any of the shit, like committing crimes or committing problems. But instead, somebody comes out there and goes, "Oy vey, shut it down." And the ICE is like, "Can do." And I'm like, why? Why are we doing that? But we don't have enough information on this right now, but she's probably one of them. Like I said, this is where, like I said, I'm not afraid to say I don't like what they're doing here. This doesn't smell right. Now, if there's more to it, great. Just like with this guy who got deported. He got Afeura'd. And it turns out, we had all kinds of shit on him. Good deportation. I'm all set with that. Now, if there's enough for her to get Afeura'd in Turkish, whatever that would be, Afeura, and get sent home, she's got to go back. Okay, great. But right now, just, pissing off the Jews, like that's actually like, it's like America's like second pastime or third pastime after baseball. Why are we doing their bidding? Because remember, chat, we talked about this. You have to be actively anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic. So you're doing that rabbi's bidding, and are you really wanting to do that bidding? So that's where it's like, you got to be careful. Who's buffalo jumping you? Who's getting you all riled up? And Karam's like, yeah, since that October 7th day, killing kids is somehow praised by conservatives. Yeah. Fuck Hamas, fuck the Palestinians, but it's like, yeah, I'm not too keen on Israel just, carpet bombing the whole thing out of the way, especially with my weapons that I have to pay for. So, yeah. Pepsi Man, I'm not saying you can't deport him because Israel wants to deport some other people too. But has she done anything that's actually illegal under immigration law? So far, merely she's just saying fuck Israel in op-eds. That's still protected action. The idea that, if she was doing more, certainly I could see her wanting to get deported. But if she was merely writing fuck Israel, fuck them, it's like, really, we're going to deport somebody for saying that? Like, of all the things people might do, like, we're going to deport her? Like, I'm a little like, I don't like that. I don't like that idea. Like I said, there's more to it, fine. But we haven't even seen the op-ed she wrote, which is funny because I have not seen from the people that are backing her. They aren't showing the op-eds, these things she wrote in student newspapers. I'm sure they're not really flattering. And if they make her sound like a fucking crazy person and like she wants to bathe in the blood of every Jewish man, woman, and child, then yeah, she could fucking go back because now you're getting fucking psychopath. But if she's merely saying Israel sucks, fuck them, boycott, divest, and sanction, I'm not really too upset about that one. So, yes, you tear off your shirt. It says, see that? It means not welcome. Nick says, I dislike Israel as much as the next, but it seems like a price of tea in China argument. Yeah, well, like I said, that's my question. That's my question there about what exactly is it that she did? That's my question. What is it that she did? I just want to know. Just tell me what she did. Just tell me. I want to know. No. Like, that's all I do. Just tell me. Just tell me what's going on. That's all I need. Just tell me. And I'll back it. I'll gas up the fucking airplane myself. I'll walk in there and hand out fucking peanuts to everybody going to El Salvador. And I'll be all, buenas noches, vaya con Dios. Like, I'll be the first one to help you. Just show me you got the right to do it all. Show me you got the right to do it all. So, Kleincoins funded private deportations, yes. Why create the country of Israel? We aren't going to send every Jew there. Well, that's... Shh. You can't say that one out loud. I'll get in trouble. Scott lives in anticipations. Look at you all lawyery and stuff. Scott, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Guys, remember, you guys can find Scott, Joe Dolio, Tactical Wisdom, Watcher, Stan, Old Hong Kong, and many other people over on Future Conflicts, guys. They are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. over on YouTube. And then on Fridays, they go over to Rumble and hang out. But you guys can find them over there. Scott, hope you're doing well. Pepsi Man says, your argument is as weak as you are fat. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just saying, can we just cut out the middleman and deport her to Israel? Well, no, she's from Turkey. She would have a really bad time in Israel. She wouldn't want to go there. She would beg you to send her to Turkey. No, I just, like I said, I have a problem here with what did she actually do? Because if she did all the things he's saying where she is being disruptive and all that, great. But we haven't heard any of that. All we heard was she wrote some op-eds in a student newspaper. And it's like, yeah, that's not enough for me. That's not enough for me. Just show me. Show me. Show me yours and I'll show you mine. Nick says if the world was on fire and the Zionists said we need to put out the fire, you would just let it burn? I would be very confused about what to do. Because I'm like, okay, but, like, yeah, it would concern me a little bit. The Zionist said it's raining outside. I'm going to double check. She was a dipshit leftist. Well, there you go. Well, J-Rock says everyone. Yes. Bella says not the First Amendment. These bastards have called on foreign terrorists to hit American targets. The ones from there took a janitor hostage. I understand that, and if she said all that, then great, sure. But notice, like, nobody's really provided any proof of what she's done. Yes, yeah, Mohammed Khalil could be a foreign glowy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of concern there about what he's done. What he's done there. Marlene says, we want this to ourselves and our posterity. If Zion likes it, so what? Well, yeah. Pepsi Man is saying you can't deport agitators because you're helping Israel is a retard argument. Well, those agitators are going after Israeli and Zionist interests. It's like, are they trying to undermine America or they just don't like Jews? They're not really trying to undermine America. She's not just screaming death to America. She's just saying, fuck the Zionists. And I'm like, it's not really my problem. Not really my problem. That's my point. It's not my problem. And I did see an argument from somebody who said, well, what if AOC became president and then she was going to start deporting all Zionist, pro-Zionist people? And I would have been like, based. So I don't really know, like, just get rid of the fucking Zionists. I'm okay with that at that point. But if they're just saying, I love Israel, and it's like, Afeura'd, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure that's a bad thing. Just trying to be a little consistent here with some First Amendment stuff. Debbie says, isn't she the one whose picture and video have her at Columbia at a pro-Palestine Death to America protest? I don't think so. I'm not sure. My nose is clogged with mayonnaise, yeah. In Turkey, they call it Tachyon Black says yes. In Turkish, they call it being Armenian. Yes. Bella's saying, if I think you protest Jews, you should be allowed to stay and cause havoc and vandalize Liberty Bell. If she committed crimes, then fucking get rid of her. I'm not saying you can't, but in this case, she hasn't been accused of committing a crime. So far, all she's been accused of doing, from what's been released out there, is writing fucking op-eds. That's not something. She wrote letters to the editor, basically. That's not enough for me. If she vandalized shit, Afeura'd. Like, that's the point, Chet. Did she engage in criminal activity? If not, then no, she gets to stay. If yes, then Afeura'd. But I don't have any proof she Afeura'd. If all she did was say Israel sucks and a bunch of Jews cried about it, I ain't fucking doing their bidding for them. They have to fucking suffer. I mean, that's their thing. They suffered in the desert. They can suffer on a campus. Now, people who are like actually causing problems, fine, you fucking get rid of them. But there's no necessarily proof she did that. Chinny says, you've changed. I don't know if I've really changed that much. I don't think I've really changed. You know, fuck them all, build the wall. Okay, great. But if she was here on a visa, what did she do is, I guess, my question. So. Keopeth says, what if we just turn off the tap importing retards who hate us? Insist on a law you can't partake in political demonstrations while on a visa. I don't know if the First Amendment would allow for that. Even though you're here on a visa, your rights are restricted in many ways. Like you can't buy guns. You can't do a lot of things on a visa. I don't know if that would survive First Amendment scrutiny, even on a Supreme Court like this right now. You'd probably get like 8-1 like against it. Like Clarence Thompson would be like, do whatever the fuck you want. But I'm not sure you'd win that argument. Disson is saying if she vandalized property, is the fact that Israel also wants it means you must do the opposite of Israel? No. No, at that point, I have a separate reason to get rid of her. She's vandalizing property. But if the only reason it's out there are the Israelis going, oy vey, can you, can you get rid of her? You know, she's causing me to kvetch. Well, no, that's not going to be my reason. Now, if the Israelis are clapping like seals as I get rid of her, but I have an independent reason, fine. Whatever, great. You guys win too. We both win today. And then eventually we'll get rid of you too. And then I'll win. But for now, if there's not an independent reason, she shouldn't be removed, is my point. Chris is saying, I'm only for the First Amendment, which means we should be allowed to be anti-Semitic. They wish to call us a liar and debunk our position. Sure, go for it. But we're never called liars. Yeah. So, Brimstone says only citizens have First Amendment right. Well, no, like other people have First Amendment right. You know, they're not the only people. Like, you know, resident aliens have First Amendment rights. Resident aliens have all the rights we have. Resident aliens can own guns. Like, they can do a lot of shit. Like, they just can't vote. So. Distance says, seems like Israel gets me pretty riled up. Well, it should get you riled up. They fuck around in our government a lot. They have a very unhealthy control over the United States government. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. AJ says pissing off Jews, great, but how? If it's visa revocation worthy, then it's fine. And that's my point. If there is a valid reason to revoke her visa, like he's talking about in there, committing crimes, shitting on the couch, spray painting, vandalizing, great, afuera. Did she do any of that? If not, then no afuera. So instead of afuera, we have to like reverso. El reverso afuera. Or afuera el reverso. Yeah, she is here, deported. Okay, well, not gonna. Yeah, all right. Well, yeah. Here's the point. What did she actually do? We don't know what she's done yet, so I'm not in the position of telling her to afuera yet. Brimstone said she's here by permission, and the American people don't want non-citizens here. Well, no, we do want non-citizens here. We want people to follow the rules. So what did she do? That's my issue. Pepsi Man is saying the criteria for non-citizens is not do something illegal and you're deported. I understand. Well, that's actually kind of like the majority of it. If you're here on a visa, like you have terms and conditions and rules. Has she violated those rules? Like, you know, absent like emergency circumstances, there's nothing being invoked that she did something in an emergency situation or that she's done something illegal. They said it's been revoked, but they haven't said that because she's done something against the rules. Yes, literally every country in the world will deport you for agitating at a university. I understand that, but literally every other country in the world's a fucking shithole. I don't really care what the fuck they do. Yes, every other country in the world, if you go to Britain, you agitate, you get deported. Yes, but in Britain, you'll get butt fucked by some Pakistani guys as they cut your head off with a machete. Like that, that doesn't okay, great. I'm not worried about what other countries do because other countries fucking suck. They all suck a big floppy dick. Why is she protesting a foreign country in a citizen? Why is she protesting in a foreign country that she isn't a citizen of? Well, I mean, was she allowed to have it? She is. I mean, I don't know. KRM says no Israeli students are being deported for saying "fuck Muhammad." Just saying, yeah, and that's kind of the part of the issue here. Like, are we deporting Israeli students? Like, that's part of my issue here. Like, are we actually doing this for a real reason? If we're gonna do this, we should do it right. Do non-citizens have the same protections of free speech? It depends. It depends because a resident alien with a green card, yes, under Supreme Court case law, does. She does not. She's not a green card holder. So she's under a different standard. But would you argue she's allowed to have political speech? Should she be allowed to tell a cop to fuck off? Should she be allowed to petition for, come in and speak on saying this law is bad, look what it does? Should she have the right to come and speak in front of her city council because saying look, the sidewalk's bad in front of my apartment, can you fix it? So yeah, she doesn't have the same rights as a citizen or a permanent resident, but she does have some rights. I mean, obviously, they aren't telling her when you show up here, pretend you're a fucking mime. So she has some level. She has some level of free speech. Future conflict saying all she has to say is from the river to the sea one time and she's out. And I'm fine with if that's a route we're gonna go, fine, yeah. If you're supporting terrorist bullshit, cool. Bye. But if she hasn't said that, but she's just Israel is doing this wrong, they're colonizing imperial, blah 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 blah. I'm not getting wrapped around the axle at that. She starts doing from the river to the sea and Allahu Akbar, fuck the Jews. Okay, yeah, now we're kind of getting to the point of yeah, Afeura'd. But yes. Howdy, Watcher or Scott, whoever's got the future conflict, whoever's got the keys to the car. Am I buying into the myth of the religion of peace? Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not at all. If she's out there, like I said, if she's out there doing something that runs afoul of the rules, fine. But if she's merely out there saying, once again, the op-eds, where are these op-eds? Now, I have suspicions, the fact that we haven't seen them from her side, probably they're fucking psychotic. But I don't know yet. And until the government produces that, I'm not going to support it. So that's where I'm at. No, it sounds like you want people to stay and terrorize. No, if she is involved in the direct terrorizing of people, being disruptive and doing all that, then fine, get rid of her. But there's no allegation she's done that. It's merely that she has put pen to paper. If that's all she's done, then no. What she puts on pen to paper, could that change my mind? Sure. But until she actually does something, no Afeura'd. If she's done something, Afeura'd. Benjamin saying that's a good question. It hasn't been challenged. There's Supreme Court case law on it. Let's see here. She took up enrollment space from a native. I don't know about that. Who knows? Pepsi Man says, I've helped people get a green card. The paperwork says, yes, be part of a political protest, your own risk. I understand that. But what did she do as far as a protest? What did she do? What did she say? We don't know. You're saying, Sean, what the fuck? I mean, I may get a Zionist melting down in your DMs like Kurt did. I'll be all right. I'll be all right. My argument's gaining strength. Yeah. No, Sean, that's Turkey-a. Turkey-a. Yes, check out Future Conflicts. They are very based. Yes, if you're hungry, go to Turkey. You guys are talking about turkey sandwiches. Techion Black says, sounds like you're a little critical of Israel. Sounds like you might need to get Afeura'd. Well, Oivade. Kreuzer, what did you say? What did I miss here? Your argument's gaining strength. Yeah, yeah. So, why is there a Zionist in my house? Yes. Michael Gelke says the Zionists believe that breathing is good for you. You better watch out. Well, I have an independent basis than believing them, so I'll be okay. But Eric says Zionist in your vagina? Oh. Can we deport all the ones that paint a red triangle on shit? That's fine. Yes, Future Conflicts says we also have Mossad Mondays. Yes. Barton Bell is saying someone who believes Zionist is someone who believes Israel has just as much right to exist as we do. No, Israel has every right to exist. I'm fine with that. I have no problem with that. But the way that for example, like AIPAC is one of the big, the amount of power AIPAC exerts over U.S. government is something I don't like. Like, there's a lot of things I don't like that, like the Israeli lobby does. And all the aid we give to Israel. Like, there's a lot of things I just don't like. We don't need to do that. I'm okay with them doing their thing. They're allowed to do their thing. I just don't want to have any part in it. I don't need to be giving them bombs so they can carpet bomb their way across fucking the Gaza Strip. That's their problem. They can fucking handle it. They got money. They can buy bombs from us. That's fine. But I'm not just going to give them shit, is my point. Bella says, why can we be America first and Israel not be Israel first? They can be Israel first. But Israel first can't come over and fuck with America first. That's the problem. Like, Israel can be Israel first. But when I'm trying to go over here and be America first, they can't go, you're not, like, you're getting in our way. No, get the fuck back over here. I'm going to be America first. You're on your own. Battle Flag is saying, so what if she was doing all that shit? Afuera. I understand the criteria to deport non-citizens is not, did you commit a crime? I understand that. But what has she done? That's the issue here. Merely just voicing a political agitation is not enough. It's not enough under current law. I was just using an example what somebody said. If they said if she was doing all these bad things, great, she's gone. If she was being disruptive and causing problems, gone. But if all she's done so far is just written an op-ed, no, that's not enough. There's got to be some threshold. Send Anthony Cumia back to Tanzania. How retarded am I? Pretty retarded. Oh, wow, I'm really behind on you guys. Trying to catch up. Yes, they need to break the conditions. And I agree with the conditions. So get her out. Well, has she broken the conditions? Everybody else involved, yeah, great. They broke the conditions, they're gone. I just don't know what her situation has. Jim says, how is it in America first to kick people out of America? You could do that, but there's, what has she? That's what I need to know. What did she do? How did they catch her? What did she do? All they said so far is, well, she's been part of it. Okay, well, what exactly did she do? What exactly did she do? That's all I need to know. Just tell me exactly what it is she did. And like I said, I'll gas up the fucking plane for you myself. Durna said, leave them Terrys alone is enough for me. I'm not saying leave them alone. If people are out here causing problems, get them the fuck out. But did she cause a problem? No. All the government has said so far is op-eds she wrote. So if she only wrote articles, what did she write in the articles? And the government hasn't shown those articles yet. So what are the articles actually saying? That's all I'm trying to tell you guys. That's all I'm trying to tell you guys. Iran has closed its airspace. Well, yeah, that's going to be a thing here. That's all I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, what is it? Melanie says, have I seen they're trying to revoke Young Thug's probation? Yes. Okay, Bella says, I'd keep her if we could bounce Hassan, citizen or not. Okay, yes. If you're telling me the trade-off is this chick or Hassan Piker, okay, yeah, that's okay. Like, to be fair, I think we all agree that's a good trade. I think everybody here would agree that's a good trade. Like, you make that trade, boom. If you press this button and she stays, but Hassan Piker goes, I'd hit the button twice. Yes, fair trade, yes. This is why you archive everything. If we set the standard that terrorist sympathizers would be deported, all of the Zionists would be on a plane in El Salvador. Don't get my hopes up. Wasn't Hassan born in Turkey? No, he was born in America. He was born in America. He had to stay here, guys, sadly. Sadly. Hassan can't go back. He's already back. Hassan was born in, like, New York City or New Jersey or some shit. I don't know. In Midnight in Exile, you're right. It's a privilege to be here. But did she break the privilege? All I need to know is show me how she broke the privilege. Can I give you an update on the pile of shame? I will take a picture coming up here on the pile of shame. Andrew Tate is apparently American too. Yes, he's 100% American. He's 50-50 American. He's 50% American, 50% British. He's a dual citizen. But his retarded accent is awful. A privilege isn't a right. I understand. Privileges can be taken away for any reason, any time. No privileges. A privilege has to be done properly. Like, for example, your right to drive. It's not a driving right. It's a privilege to drive. Your driver's license is not a right. It's a privilege. They can't just take it away from you. You have to have due process for that. And one of those is, like, you're given a set of rules. They can't just arbitrarily revoke your driver's license. For her, she has a visa. She has a set of rules. If she followed the rules, you can't take it away. That's how the rules work. Yes, it's a contract. You do X, we promise to let you stay and go to school. If you fuck up, we send you home. According to the internet, Hassan was born in New Jersey. Okay, well, there you go. I propose everyone in New Jersey be deported. Okay, well, that's... I don't know. I can't... My thumbs can't go up any more than that one. Yes. Dual citizenship shouldn't be a thing. I agree. So are we sure the op-ed was calling for worldwide intifada? Then yeah, great. Bye. Happy trails if that's what she said. Like I said, if she wrote like a fucking psychopath, happy trails. Hit the road, bitch. If she didn't, then fine. But like I said, if she broke the rules, goodbye. Merely saying fuck Israel is not enough for me, though. I know Andrew Tate's innocent because no woman would ever sleep with him. Well, that's so wrong. Oh, Hassan is 44. Yeah, that says weird when you think about it. He's trying to like appeal to Zoomers and he's 44. Yes. Ohio's a New Jersey in the Midwest. No, it's the Florida of the Midwest. Judge Napolitano gets to stay. Marley says I was born in New Jersey. Well, you can move. You can get out of. You're not, as long as you're not there anymore. The wall's going up. Karen says, "Do you know the demographics of New Jersey? Oy vey, anti-Semitic." Yes. So have I? Can I define writing like a psychopath? If she's really out there screaming about worldwide intifada and we will wash ourselves, there'll be she'll wash herself in the blood of the Jews and death to America and fuck America. Great, gone, bye, Afeura'd. Hit the road, bitch. Have fun in Turkey. Go get your degree somewhere else. You don't have to go home, bitch, but you can't stay here. Great, bye. If that's what she said. I haven't seen what she said. If I see what she says, I'm all about getting her the fuck out. So, Island says, how is she on a student visa for 10 years? That calls for a small amount of scrutiny. Well, I mean, that could be if she's like going through her entire, because she was in her PhD program. And it could take you like 10 years to do a PhD. If you go from an undergrad to a master's to a PhD, it could take a while. So, yes, like Brimstone, I agree. If she was arrested and charged, but it got dropped, that's enough to get her tossed. I'm not disagreeing with you. Holy shit. I agree. But there's no indication she did any of those things. Like, you're arguing a point that is not argued here. Like, we're not arguing that because she's not accused of that. She's accused of like writing shit down. Now, when she wrote shit down, did she, as Jim said, a worldwide intifada and fuck America and death to America? Then you know what? See ya, bitch. Have fun. Tell St. Felicia I said hello. Yes, Afeura'd. But if she hasn't done it, then no Afeura'd. That's all I'm trying to say. Keopath says, damn it, Sean, it wasn't a serious question. All right, well. Yes. There's some really quality materials on Industrial Society. Yes. I mean, that's the thing. It's not too far out there. I don't pick up on humor sometimes. Well, yes. Rand Paul betrayed his oath for Kentucky bourbon money. Yes. Yes, I've clearly stated I want to see the brief. Show me the evidence. Yeah, as long as I can see what it is she did, fucking get rid of her. Well, yeah, she's a Turk, so they're therefore shady. Well, there's that too. Brimstone says, so why don't we just arrest her, charge her, then drop the charges? Okay, well, it's a little too late now. Are you claiming people should care about some due process? That's un-American, bud. Well, I just want some basic rules adhered to. The protesters were told to break camp and didn't. So technically she trespassed already. If she was one of the protesters that set up a camp, then yeah, she's Afeura'd. But I don't believe she was. I don't believe there's any proof from the government that she even did that. If she was, then that great, but I don't believe that's the case yet. So that's my concern there. So that's my point. That's my point. So That's my point. If she did any of that, great. Afuera. But there is, if she didn't do it, then no afuera. Speaking Arabic when talking about the towel people. Roach removal is pretty base. Well, I mean, yeah, there's that too. Wild turkey is the best. No. Wild turkey, like, I started drinking at the beginning. Bella says the only thing I'm angry at the Jews for is funding the civil rights movement. Well, yeah. Oh. I have a Spanglish calendar and I use the word as much as possible. Yeah. So. Val Kilmer passed away. Yes, he did. Rip. Rip, rip, rip. How many times I got to repeat myself before folks listen? I don't know. A million. Now I know how my dad feels when I was a kid. Now I know how my dad feels. Yeah, Drive Me Closer is right. If they were playing by the rules, then cool. If they weren't, fuck them. But I want to see what rules they didn't follow. But yes, F in the chat for my dad and his fucking distress I caused him over the years. Yes, 07's in the chat for Papa Criminal. He dealt with a lot of bullshit and a lot of retardation. Oh. Turkey 101's not bad once you get past the burn-in. Yeah, that was the first stuff I drank as a kid. I was like 14 and got to swig some of it. I was we were wrestling and we had a wrestling tournament. Then we one of the guys, like a bunch of us were sleeping over there, and like someone had gotten hold of wild turkey, and I was like, woo! First time I had that. I'll tell you what, if you're not ready for it. Skeeve Man says for £5 sterling. Says it was a nice day in Scotland, no clouds, no rain, sun splitting the sky. Highs of 21 centigrade. What is 21 Celsius to Fahrenheit? 69.8 degrees. Nice. Almost 70 degrees. And I got sunburned. Fuck my life. Wow, you must be a ginger. Damn. Cacophony says that's Sam Hyde behind the rabbi, or it's Jeremy from the quartering. Oh. MLS, David, how are you doing? He says, I'm here to laugh at you, not with you. Thank you, David. Project Calm says, sounds to me like she wants to come in as part of some conspiracy to deprive the other students of civil rights. She plans to do this using violence. If she did, afuera. If she hasn't, no afuera. Show me what she has done to be afuera'd, and I will support it. It's all I need. Just show me. Unforced ego for $20. For $20. Thank you. Says Sean is a fake anti-Semite. Real anti-Semites know the words of Hava Nagila. I had to spell it wrong to get it past YouTube censors. Wait, you can't type that in the chat? Even if you're just saying that, like... That's funny. That's actually very interesting. Captain Forever says, I'm with you. I'd like to know more about what she did wrong. It does reek of did do nothing from what I hear by lefties. And sure, like I said, with that guy down in El Salvador, he got Afeura'd. Oh, he was a nice boy. They fucked up. Well, it turns out, well, they did fuck up, but it wasn't going to matter anyway because he's going home. So he got sent home. He tried to say he was too good for his home. And ICE was like, no, you're not. Welcome home. And then Island is a new member. Thank you, Island. I appreciate the support. Thank you. You didn't take Spanish in high school, so what was it, Sean? I took Francais. Parlez-vous français. That's what I did. My French teacher was Mrs. French. That's how cool it was. The German teacher was Mrs. Schmidt. The Spanish teacher was named Mrs. Troyer. So it was actually kind of cool. It's kind of cool that way. So. Chris says on a random tangent, I'm all for Mega going after Anna Paulina Luna after a bullshit stunt yesterday about the pregnancy thing. She's hot. She gets a pass. Val Kilmer was your Huckleberry. Yes, chat. Yes, respect to Val Kilmer. Just Val Kilmer was once interviewed about Top Gun, and they said, was it really gay? And they say on a scale from 1 being not gay to 10 being Liberace flying an F-16, how gay was Top Gun? And Val Kilmer said a 12. So. Drinking at 14, that explains a lot. Well, yeah. Oh, you sent me a link to the op-ed, Island? All right, well, so let's take a look at the op-ed then. Let's see if we're flaring. Well, hold on. Where did you send it? You sent me a link where? Did you send it in chat? Because I might have missed it. The data says wild turkey is a pretty good value. Yeah, but I'd rather have Jack Daniels than wild turkey. If I'm chugging it down. I'm sipping for the kebab payoffs. I mean, well, you have some good kebab. I'll fucking tell you what. Like, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Have I got an MS-13 story to tell you? Oh. Let me see here. I'm amazed that Sean didn't take German. I was told German was a lot harder than French. So, that's why. Besides, France has a long history of anti-Semitism anyway. Jim says, I saw the op-ed now and it's gone. And Tufts Daily has taken it down to keep people from reading it for some reason. I agree. That's where it makes it sus. Why don't you show us it, lady? But also, government, why don't you show us, government? Why doesn't anybody want us to see it? Your French teacher was gay? Oh, well, sorry. Stacey says, why was Top Gun gay? You're telling me you've watched the volleyball scene and you're like, this isn't a gay movie? Or it's all about Maverick and Iceman being gay? Like, Quentin Tarantino explains why it's gay. Yes, on a scale of Chuck Norris to Ricada and Aaron playing Naked Twister, how gay is Die Hard? Chuck Norris. Yes, Val Kilmer did die. He died actually on April 1st, so it's interesting. The government can't show it because they took it down. Well, they would have access to it. The government could still find it. Because they did their things to revoke her stuff, so they should have it somewhere. So. But yeah, Island, I don't see if you sent it to me. I'm not sure. Oh, you said, oh, here. I got it. All right. Okay, here we go. I got it now. Sorry, you were in Twitter. I accepted it. So thank you. Also, I'm going to make sure I... Oh, there we go. All right. So let's see. Is this... I don't know. Jim, if you've seen this, tell me if this is the edited one. If this is the wrong one here. So, okay. So on March 4th, the Tufts Community Union Senate passed 3 out of 4 resolutions demanding the university acknowledge the Palestinian genocide, apologize for university president Sunil Kumar's statements, to close its investments in divestment companies with direct or indirect ties to Israel. Okay. So BDS, boycott, divest, sanction. So these resolutions were the product of meaningful debate by the Senate, represent a sincere effort to hold Israel accountable for clear violations of international law. Credible accusations against Israel include accounts of deliberate starvation, indiscriminate slaughter of Palestinian civilians, and plausible genocide. Okay. So far, nothing's pinging the radar for me. Eric is saying, don't we have bad weather coming our way? I don't know. Hold on, let me see. Let me see what Ryan Hall's saying real quick. Well, it's Tufts University. Yes, they're all liberals. It's fucking Tufts University. Like, that's not like. There's no question about that, you guys. Like, come on. It's 100%. It's Tufts University in Boston. It's 100% there. So, let me see here. Okay, chat. I don't see yeah, I don't think there's anything close to us yet, so we're okay right now. Yeah, we're okay for now. I'm not worried about the storms. It's over Toledo right now. I'm just west of there, a little ways away from Sean. Yeah, it's okay there. So let's see here. Say, unfortunately, university response to the resolution has been wholly inadequate and dismissive of the Senate. The collective voice of the student body. Graduate Students for Palestine joins Tufts Students Justice in Palestine, the Tufts Faculty and Staff Coalition for Ceasefire, and the Fletcher Students for Palestine to reject the university's response. And they say, although graduate students were not allowed by university in the Senate meeting, which lasted for almost 8 hours, our presence on campus and financial taken with the university via tuition payments and graduate work that we do on grants and research make us direct stakeholders in the university stance. Okay, so far still, we're not at a Afeura'd point. They have proof of her actually supporting Hamas. Okay, well, that's going to be a little different then. Wait, Marco said it wasn't the op-ed. Well, he says he has proof of some people. He didn't say specifically what she had done. But initially, when she had been arrested, they said it was for her op-eds. So this is just one of them, though. So, yeah, okay, over here. So, hold on. Do we see Intifada? Hold on here. Control F, Intifada, yeah, it's not even showing up here. Okay. So she's talking about divesting from South Africa during apartheid. Let's see. Yeah. Ooh, and it sucks. She was almost done too. You know, the Children's Services and Human Development. She was almost done. Oof. She was almost done with her PhD and fucked it up. So. Oh, they never said it was for op-ed. That came from a listing on the Canary website. Okay. Oh, she's on film occupying buildings. That's. I wish somebody would have said that from the start. Then you know what? Afeura'd. There we go. Goodbye. So sad. Yes. Farewell. So long. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye. Oh well. If that's all she did, then bye. She occupied buildings. I'm all for it. So there we go. Thank you, guys. See, we learned. If she did it, bye, bitch. Bye, bitch. See how easy that is, chat? It's easy enough. Did she do something wrong? Bye, bitch. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you. Although that might be, don't let the door hit you where the prophet where Allah splits you. You know, don't let the door hit you where that pedophile prophet you call Muhammad splits you. Although he probably split his child bride, so. But she didn't feel that was a crime, so it's not a crime. Well, it doesn't matter. You're trying to find the films. Well, that's okay. Let me see here. Maybe the real Afeura'd was the friends we made along the way. Yeah. Yes. The name of subsources really had to go there, huh? Well, yeah. Well, I'm assuming it's like not where the good Lord splits you because she's probably not Christian. So, yes, you have to. You have to when you start talking about Muhammad that he fucked a 9-year-old girl. That was his bride. Because apparently he was illiterate and God told him to do it. So, you should go there. So, did all of Eric Adams' charges get dropped? Yes, it's going to be a dismissal with prejudice. Yes, Muhammad was Epstein before they invented islands. Oh. So Jim Tells You says, I'm just kind of biased against Haji skinnies and yeah, well. My Muslim audience is unsubbing now. I'm sure there's so many of them. Yes, Stacy says Jews, Christians, and Muslims all believe in the same God. I know Muslims claim that, but I don't know if they do. I mean, they say that, and they claim they're an Abrahamic religion, but if you don't believe in Jesus as this, your savior, you're not really believing in God. So, kind of don't work. Force the sand people eat bacon. Well, yeah. Oh, hold on, chat. 1 second. Apparently, Clyde lost his peen and 2.0 is helping him look for it. She just turned on the light in the hallway. I'm like, why is she up? So they all claim the same God. Yes, they all claim it, but that doesn't mean it is. So Eric says that is a giant shirt. Well, you're a big guy. You're a really big guy. For you. It's a big shirt. For you. Oh. Stella says, I hate it when I lose my peen. Yeah. The peen hunt commenced. Yes. Clyde didn't lose his real peen. He lost his because he's got the little peen holders. Because if you with the way the bull peens are, if he eats the end of it, they could choke on it because they don't have anything else to tear it apart with. So, Alyssa's like, lol, what? Oh. So, anyways, Alyssa, I'll do that again for you, though. It's like, that's a really big shirt. For you. Yes. Stop, Sean Lamau. Clyde lost his nuts. Well, yeah, that happened. The APL took his nuts. PPP voice. That's because he's fat. Yes. What's a peen holder? Is it a baldo? No. Okay. So hold on. I'll go grab one and show you guys here. Hold on. Let me be right back. All right, chat. Okay. So this is a bull peen. This is a dehydrated bull schlong. Okay. The problem is this is like a chew. Like it's like a pig ear. Okay. He can eat it. The problem is if you're eating it and you get down to the last piece, you can't chew it effectively. So what do? They make these things. And you basically take the end and screw it down so he can't eat the end of it and choke on it because it'll choke dogs and kill them. So, no, it's not a Baldo. And no, we wouldn't call them peen holders, guys, because we couldn't call it your mom's mouth. So, that was already taken. Tachyon Black says it's the gayest thing I've ever heard. What, your dog's choking to death on a peen? Yeah, your dog dies from choking on a bullcock. That is pretty gay. So, anyways, so you take it like this and there you go. Yeah, it's a roach clip. There you go, basically. And so now he can't eat the end of it and choke on it. Because you guys want Clyde to die, Chad? Is that what you're telling me? You want Clyde to die? I'm not going to let Clyde die. Here you go, Bubba. Clyde's like, thank you, fat man. And he just trotted off. How about just not feeding the dogs bull peens? Yeah, but that's actually, it's very healthy compared to like everything else. It's very healthy compared to everything else. Actually, believe it or not, it's very good. Did I buy that from a mohole? No, but they make tons of them. Have you tried cow vulva on the off chance he's straight? Oh. My God, you guys are ridiculous. Yeah, that's the other thing too. They're good. It's not many calories for the dog, so he can eat them. And yeah, no, actually, dogs will die. Like they will choke on it because they can't properly chew and like because dogs don't chew like we do. Dogs like they're like how thing. So he would like dogs will choke on it because they don't properly chew it. You need more Clyde. Well, Clyde's busy eating a bull penis. Sorry. So I'm gonna keep feeding him to him. Like you're back in health class. No. J-Rock says, why give your dog something that can kill him, Sean? Sean? You're right. I should start locking him in the bathroom. Clyde better not be in a caloric restricted diet. He's not. He's not. Have you tried one? No. They smell awful, but it's like pig ears. They smell fucking awful, but dogs love them. So. Darcy says, my dog threw up a 3-inch chunk of one. I was happy she threw it up. Yeah, you guys got us onto this. Listening to you guys got us onto the bull peens. Somebody out here mentioned, I think it might have been Darcy or someone. Somebody mentioned bull peens. And we did it. So it's one of you out there, chat, that did this. So, is this the Ricada defense for the children's Coke? No, it's okay. It's healthy. No. Seller said, I said yak chews and deer antlers. Well, deer antlers would be great, but you got to find, like, you have to go out in the woods to hunt down sheds. And, like, most of the people that hunt sheds keep them and collect them. So you can't just get those. So. Yeah, Starcy, you're responsible for thousands of bull penises missing every month. Project Calm said they sell them by you in stores. Okay. And she says, I swear by them. I'll own it. I mean, I'll swear by them too. They're really good for Clyde. They've been great. That is the problem. They are fucking expensive. That is the problem. And Clyde could go through them pretty good. 2.0 saying to Sweet Tooth, I hope you saw my message earlier. Thank you for the video. So, yes, thank you, Sweet Tooth. But yes, the bull peas are expensive. You buy them by like the bag, and they are pretty fucking expensive, surprisingly. Shredder 07 chat. Yeah, Clyde doesn't like the really long, like they sell like really long peens. Yeah, he likes the 6 to 12-inch long peens. He does not like the 18-inch peen. So Clyde is a bit of a size queen. Yes, this 2.0 wanted to tell everybody. The 6 to 8-inch peens. He does not like the 12-inch, apparently. I don't know. I just use what's ever in the box. I didn't really pay attention. Shredder 7 say gifting 5 subs. Gifting 5 subs here, chat. Let's go. Let's go, chat. Not doing her, but his part to make this chat green. Doing his part to make this chat green. Are you doing your part? Are you doing your part, chat? You got to do your part. You got to do your part. And then Skeeve Man for £2 sterling. But not the King sterling. Not the King sterling. Says, is that Nick's Baldo after he gets done using it? I don't think he can wear out a hole that big. Unforced Ego says he'll never get that body cam footage. That means Nick won. Yeah, if that's the standard of winning, I guess he won, boys. I guess he won, chat. Debbie O says, did Rand Paul really argue on the Senate floor that tariffs are taxation without representation? I don't know if he said all that, but I know Rand Paul's 100% against the tariffs. But you know, you can't be like eventually you become so libertarian, your brain falls out. And that's where I have a problem. If you become libertarian like that, sorry. Like, yeah. Not going along with that. Sounds like Rand Paul, yeah. You're having a little box of dick is kind of weird. Well, yeah. Seller says, is Clyde like peens more than Lainey? Lainey does not buy Lainey doesn't actually do anything. Like, she won't even play with toys. Lainey lived a really bad life when she was, up for the first 5. She's gonna be she's 7 now. The first 5 years of her life, she was in a puppy mill. She was basically shoved in a cage and start pumping out puppies all the time. And they bred her until she, like, the last litter she had, only a couple of them survived, and she only had a couple by the time the rescue came and got her. And by the time we got there, she had one of her puppies left. The other ones have been gone. So, no, Lainey's had a really tough life. She is very skittish around people. It's taken her about 2.5 years now to warm up to 2.0 to the where she is. And she tolerates me. We don't know if she's got a fear of men or it's very hard for her to trust people, but Lainey's got a lot of problems, and she's never going to be properly socialized probably. But no, she doesn't use toys. She doesn't really play with toys. Yeah, that's if you put a toy in front of her, she doesn't want it. You put a peen in front of her, she's like, meh. Like, she's just really now recently started eating the weed treats. And even then, if you put one in front of her, she's kind of like, what? And she'll poke at it and then finally eat it. So Lainey's got a lot of problems. Yes, you're still a bro with a peen of your own. Yes. Thomas Massey and Rand Paul are annoying libertarians at times. Yes, because libertarianism to its logical conclusion is, what if she consents, or I want to build roads out in the woods. Like, there are problems with anything taken to its logical conclusion. Unforced Ego says, I'm a lulbert. Well, there's the thing. There's nothing wrong with being a libertarian, but those two are lulbertarians. I'm against tariffs, but using them as a weapon to induce other countries to reduce their tariffs makes total sense. And I agree. If this is only meant to force them to fucking come to heel, then so be it. Do I think this should be long-term U.S. trade policy? No. Did she kill her puppies? No. No, she had some, and like if you breed like dogs, especially if you breed too many litters out of them, you start having puppies that are like stillborn and shit. And she had a couple that didn't make it, and then she just had a couple that were, just had smaller litters. So no, she did not kill them. Although when I was a kid, our neighbor, they had kittens, and the cat ate like 3 of them, and we were like, whoa. Because we came over as our babysitter, and like we knew that their cat had kitties, and we're like, oh, we go see the kitties. And we're like, one of the kitties is missing its head, and we're like, the kitties are dead. And our babysitter came out, she's like, oh my god. Yeah, Lainey was abused. Yeah, she was a puppy mill dog. Johan says she needs more hugs, just like me. Well, yeah. Yeah, Lainey already got enough peens, technically. The poor pup has been traumatized. Yeah, she has. She's been through a lot. So. Is reciprocity a libertarian value? I mean, you'd like to think so, but a lot of the, Paul and Massey are like, look, we can't do it. Yes, as the tariff memes, but once again, I think that also applies to things made or taken from that area. So you can harvest a lot of shit from islands. Bella says, I would take Rand Paul and Thomas Massey over most MAGA politicians. Yes. Yes, but this is one of those times where I would not. Yeah, she definitely became a liability to her breeder. The cat was hungry. What do you want it to do? Well, so was this those damn Amish? Yes, it was an Amish puppy mill from what we understand. The Amish are big on fucking running dogs. They do it all over the place. So yeah. Well, like I said, guys, I think the tariffs can be helpful to push back, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I've been brainwashed as forever since a child for basic economic theories that tariffs are bad. And I'm like trying to shake away some of those moorings to be like, maybe they actually might have a use. So we shall see, chat. We shall see. Lick Sore by Guar is about a lady who dies in her apartment and gets eaten by cats. Yes, I've heard that song. Yes, GPU prices are about to go nuts. Yes. Yes. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. It is 11:30 on the nose. I didn't even time that right, but it did. So, they had to hire you at Amazon because the economists can't do basic math. Well, Brian says we're going to be screwed. Things are going to cost more than what they do. Well, like I said, we'll see. We'll see. And Stephen Blunt says, I like your shirt. The stripy pattern is cool. Yes. And we'll end on this. Chris is saying, Afeura'd, Sean. Go to sleep. Thank you. I think I will do that. So, guys, thank you for being here. We are going to be live tomorrow. We've got the Thursday night show. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got all these Teslas being vandalized and people getting felonies and also federal terrorism charges filed. And, people are like, why is it a felony to do that? It's like, you're not allowed to use Molotov cocktails to commit crimes. That's a federal offense. Shocker, I know. We also got some other fun stuff to talk about. There's some funny other topics out there. We got some little things about Karen Reed, other stuff that's going on out there. Marine Le Pen, the future president of France has been denied and is looking at 4 years in prison. Carl Jobst lost to Billy Mitchell in a defamation case in Australia, mate. Kurt Honor, one of the faggy anonymous people got arrested for being a fucking cyber terrorist and for hacking things in Texas, which you're like, you love to see it happen. And also, as somebody sent to me, a guy who wrote a motion to a judge telling him to fuck himself recently. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny. We got some other stuff coming up, chat, but we are going to get to that tomorrow night at 9:30. And that's tomorrow night at 9:30 here, guys. I hope to see you then. And once again, chat, did I cancel myself out? No, I did not. All right. Like I said before, guys, if I'm wrong, I'm willing to be wrong, and I'm willing to have you guys correct me. So, yeah, that Turkish chick, bye, bitch. Bye. You know, Afeura'd. That's all you got to do, and I'm all about it and support it. So, Nick Starr said Le Pen is in fact guilty, even though he hates it. Well, we'll see what happens. Nate says a fun stream. Well, it's a fun stream if we work our way through shit. Well, it's fun if we work our way through shit. Like I said, she did stuff. I'm all for getting her the fuck out of here. So, good night, chat. I will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody take care. And remember, till next time, just because you did it, well, you're going to get fucking deported if you did it. So, don't even try to do it or think about doing it, or you'll lose a student visa. So, that's probably what she should have done. But, hey, she wanted to protest. Well, when you play La Resistance games, you get treated like La Resistance. Good night, guys. Take care, and I will see you later. Good night, chat.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't.
Oh shit! I need to get up.
Even when they nab you on illegal stops, just cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. But please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy?